What if your own family betrayed you the second you inherited $12 million? They demanded every single penny. I smiled and gave them exactly what they asked for. What I did next left them completely destroyed and full of regret. This is the most jaw-dropping, satisfying revenge story you'll hear all year. Hey, have you ever been the family doormat? The one everyone laughs at behind your back, uses whenever they need something fixed or money borrowed, and then completely forgets about the moment they don't need you anymore. Yeah, that was me for 32 long years of my life. I was always the quiet one who showed up, helped out, and never asked for anything. Until the day Grandpa passed away and left me $12 million in cold hard cash. Everything changed in that single moment, and nothing would ever be the same again for any of us. They didn't laugh then. No, they demanded their so-called fair share with absolute entitlement written all over their faces. And I just sat there, smiled the calmest smile you can imagine, and gave them exactly what they asked for without any hesitation at all. My name is Alex. Growing up, I was always the quiet one in the family, the reliable mechanic who fixed everyone's cars for free on weekends, never once asking for a single thing in return, even when I was completely exhausted from long shifts at the shop and barely making ends meet. I was the guy who showed up to every single family dinner with bags of groceries because Mom always forgot to shop or simply didn't feel like it. My sister Jenna had the perfect Instagram life, full of vacations, new cars, luxury outfits, and filtered smiles for the world to see while hiding her real struggles. My brother Tyler ran what he called a business, but it was really just one bad idea after another, and bigger loans from everyone around him that he never paid back. Even my parents treated me like the spare kid who was only useful when something needed fixing or someone needed a favor done quietly in the background without any thanks. Grandpa saw it all with his wise old eyes. He never said much out loud, but he watched every single time they used me and tossed me aside like I was nothing important. He noticed the quiet sacrifices I made year after year without ever complaining once, and that quiet observation would change my life forever when the time finally came for him to make his last decision. Last month, he passed at the age of 89 after a long life full of wisdom and quiet strength. The will reading was held in his old living room, the same room with the cracked leather couch I used to sleep on when I had nowhere else to go after long shifts at the shop and no one else to turn to. The lawyer cleared his throat, looked at all of us gathered there with a serious expression, and began to read the words that would change everything forever in ways none of them could have predicted, even in their wildest dreams. You could hear a pin drop in that room as the reality of the words sank in deep. Then the screaming started like someone had just lit a fuse under the entire family, and the chaos erupted in full force right there in front of me as emotions boiled over instantly. Jenna's face turned bright red as she shouted at the top of her lungs that this had to be a mistake, and we were family, so he meant for us to split it equally right down the middle. Tyler slammed his fist so hard the table shook and yelled that he had kids and college was coming up fast, and I couldn't just sit there and hoard $12 million like some selfish prick who didn't care about anyone else. Mom started crying on cue, saying through her tears that they took care of Grandpa for years and years of their lives and that I owed them everything after all they had supposedly done for the family. I just sat there in the middle of all that noise and anger, completely still and composed, and smiled the calmest smile I have ever smiled in my entire life. Then I said softly but clearly that, okay, family sticks together right, so let's split it just like they wanted and make it official with the papers. Their eyes lit up like I had just handed them the winning lottery ticket on a silver platter. They couldn't believe their luck and started talking over each other about all the things they would buy and how their lives were finally going to change for the better. We signed the papers the lawyer drew up that same week, but what they didn't know was that I had spent the 3 full days before the reading talking to Grandpa's lawyer in secret, planning every single detail with absolute care so their own greed would come back to bite them exactly as they deserved. He helped me set up something beautiful, a family trust with very specific ironclad conditions that would make their own greed come back to bite them in ways they could never imagine even in their wildest dreams or worst nightmares. First came Jenna and her endless demands. She wanted $2 million for her dream house renovation and her kids' college fund to keep up her perfect image. I wired it straight to her account the very next day, but the trust locked every single dollar, so it had to be approved by a financial advisor I personally chose to make sure everything stayed completely on track. She blew through the first $400,000 on a kitchen that looked like it belonged on a magazine cover and a luxury vacation to Bali that she posted about nonstop for weeks. The advisor flagged everything else immediately and without mercy. Turns out the trust said any luxury spending would trigger an automatic public audit, and within 2 weeks, her perfect Instagram life got completely exposed with every fake post, every hidden credit card debt, and every lie she had been hiding for years coming out into the open for the whole world to see. Next was Tyler and his big ambitious plans. He got his $2 million for his so-called business expansion that he swore would turn everything around. But the trust required him to hire 3 family members to work for him on paper. Guess who those family members were? Me, Mom, and Dad. We never showed up once, not even for a single day. And that decision started the chain reaction he never saw coming. The IRS got very interested in a business that was paying salaries to ghosts who never worked a single hour. His trucks got repossessed, his office was raided, and he's now under full investigation with no way out and nowhere to hide. He called me crying and begging me to fix it all and make it go away, but I simply told him family sticks together and hung up the phone without another word or ounce of sympathy. Mom and Dad demanded $3 million combined for their golden years, the fancy retirement home, endless cruises, the whole dream they had always talked about for so long while taking me for granted. I gave it without question or argument. The trust set it up as an annuity that paid out monthly, but only if they lived in the exact nursing home Grandpa used to hate with every fiber of his being. They lasted exactly 6 weeks before they sold the annuity at a huge loss just to escape that place and get their freedom back. Now they're back in their old house with a reverse mortgage they can barely afford, and they still have to visit me every single month to prove family unity, or the payments stop completely with no exceptions and no mercy. By the end of month 3, they had every single penny they demanded and nothing left but regret and empty bank accounts staring them in the face every single day. The final twist came at Thanksgiving when they all showed up at my door, broken, exhausted, and suddenly very, very sorry for everything they had done over the years to me and to Grandpa. I invited them in without saying a single word. I sat them down at the exact same table where they had screamed at me months earlier and the silence in the room was heavier than any argument they had ever started in their lives. Then I slid an envelope across the table. Inside was a letter Grandpa wrote me the week before he died, a letter I had kept secret until that very moment, so the truth could hit them all at once, like a wave they never expected. It read, "Alex, I left you everything because you're the only one who ever loved me without a price tag attached to every visit or favor. Use the money to live the life they tried to take from you all these years. And if they ever come begging, make sure they learn what real family actually means in this world before it's too late for them." I looked at their faces, the same faces that used to laugh when I walked into any room, and I felt nothing but complete peace for the first time in my entire life after all those years of being overlooked and taken for granted. "Keep the money you already spent," I told them quietly without raising my voice. "I don't want it back. But from now on, we're done pretending. Real family doesn't demand. Real family shows up when it matters most without any conditions." One by one, they walked out into the rain, without another word, their heads down in complete defeat and realization. And for the first time in my life, I finally felt like the richest man in the room. Not because of the money sitting in my account, but because I was finally free from the weight of their expectations and their constant demands that had held me down for so many years. I kept $1 million for myself to live comfortably and finally chase the dreams I had put on hold for everyone else. The rest of what they took was gone, but the lesson they learned would stay with them forever. Looking back, Grandpa had always known the truth about our family. He saw the real value in quiet loyalty and unconditional love, and that's why he chose me to carry everything forward in the way he knew would matter most. If you've ever been the family doormat who finally stood up for yourself, drop a part 2 in the comments right now and tell me what you would have done with $12 million in a greedy family like that. This is just one story from the files of If I a Carp. Which twisted family tale should we tell next? Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.